don't disrespect Lil Baby like that.
They be killing me.
Yeah, definitely. I fuck with Lil Baby. I fuck with Da Baby too.
Yeah.
No, I like Lil Baby, but I'm saying they get mad when I say Da Baby. They don't like that.
Da Baby. Don't get me wrong.
No space in his name either.
He got he has a good system for the way that he raps, but yeah. Oh, we ready?
This how we starting?
We ready? Nah, I was checking out that Jay Dilla shit. This is there. That shit was fire. I was fucking with Jay Dilla. It's 34 tracks of just
34 tracks.
Just beats, no rapping.
Just beats.
Oh, just beats.
Oh, it's like a rap jazz album.
Oh, okay. You did say that. You did say that.
So then I heard that and I was like, damn, he made this?
Is there some jazz in it?
In the beats. Yeah, in the beats.
Yeah,
in the
I'm
beats.
saying you can hear it though.
If you're listening for
if you
it.
have to,
like he samples from everywhere.
No, I thought it was like one of those.
No, when I say jazz, I mean it like loosely by the definition of the music, where it's just like free range.
All right,
you know what I mean? Yeah, so I thought he made this, and that kind of reminded me of this. This is why Just Blaze can go against anybody on verses.
Anybody?
Anybody. I don't see anybody beating. I don't see anybody beating him.
Didn't Swiss beat him already?
They didn't go.
It was Swiss and Timbaland. They started off.
It wasn't years ago that
like
Swiss
Just was
and Just.
Yeah.
Oh, there was a battle.
But before there was verses,
before
it was them
verses.
like in a room.
It was them in a room.
Yeah.
They were going back and forth.
Where was this? Is there footage of this? I gotta watch.
Yeah,
this.
there's footage.
What about Kanye?
Swiss murdered him.
You're not going to disrespect Kanye.
I think Swiss murdered him, right?
The reason why, though, is because Just Blaze came playing DJing. Swiss came with a party of energy. He's dancing. That's what he does.
Zone.
That's when the zone really started popping.
It was a competition.
And
Swiss came with it.
Yeah, the performance was
wasn't ready. He wasn't ready.
Nah, he wasn't ready.
Just was like, I just thought we were playing records.
They don't want that Kanye smoke.
All right, yo, a lot of people keep fronting on my man because he's out of his fucking mind.
They don't want that Kanye smoke.
But that Kanye smoke, boy. Regardless.
He drop anything Beyonce, he wins.
We got the real mayor of Providence in the building today.
That's good.
That's not me.
Yes, sir.
Oh, and the king.
The king and the mayor.
The king and the mayor.
We're surrounded by royalty.
Surrounded by excellence. And royalty. Yeah.
King of Providence, mayor of Providence, supreme leader. Woo. Me and Dave just
peons,
communal representation and shit. He was here to say we had the people around.
I'm not gonna pick on the black guy, but Kaba, can you get my Bustelo?
I like that.
Chill, I fuck with Bustelo hard.
Yo, Bustelo's kind of tough. I'm gonna have me one too.
You gonna come back with 2 cups? Yeah.
All right, gentlemen.
I didn't say you can have one, Kaba.
I have one on the loader.
Okay,
it's good.
A shot.
What's going on, fellas?
Chilling, man.
Episode 104, Growing Pains podcast.
You haven't done that in a while.
Wow, we did that like immediately. We usually 10 minutes in before we even get to the
That's
intro.
True.
I know, but we have a very special guest.
We do have a special
guest. And I think this is going to be a good one. I feel like it's going to be a good one.
No,
I like pressure on us.
He's been waiting. This guy.
He has been waiting.
Yeah, he likes to ask questions.
Do I?
Yeah.
That's good, man.
That's true.
You guys got people reaching out to me. You know, to get this done, I didn't even go through Bob. I'm on a group chat with Bob every day.
Yeah,
and he ain't. I didn't even know he was part of this.
Oh shit!
Yeah, Bob's not even repping our shit.
Bob's not rapping.
I had to put him out there real quick because I'm like,
we're not load management. That's why
we got to get together, man.
Oh man, how many more of these?
Plenty in there. But no, can we get you to introduce yourself, brother?
Kobi Dennis, man, community leader. That's me, man. You know, community leader first, then dad, because my kids will tell you that. I'm in the streets first, then I'm a dad, then I'm a husband. And then, you know, all around just, you know, I get the party started, man, when it comes to making things happen.
Your wife allows you to say her third?
Pretty much.
Okay.
You know, she allows that. I know what time. I say it on podcasts, but I won't say it when she comes.
My man's smart.
Yeah, hope she don't listen. I would say servant community leader.
Yeah, man. Shout out to you. Like we were talking before the podcast started. I recognized you right away when you first came through the door because you were not only, I don't think you were a coach. I'm not sure if you were a coach of a team.
I played one on TV.
Okay. But you led the Tri-Town Community Center in North Providence, which my son had the pleasure of playing with. which I then had the pleasure of, and we were talking about how they had that you could either pay the price or you can volunteer to donate or whatever, which I had the pleasure of donating after a while because I believed in the in that service, right? That was a great service. You guys played a long time, and you always started the games
on time
with a speech, and always ended the games with a speech, and it was dope, man. It was always it was one of the most respectable leagues, if not the most respectable leagues that my son had the pleasure of playing for.
I'm glad he had a pleasure. And I know he's an older gentleman now, so it's good to know that it's remembered that quality. That's what I try to do whenever I put my foot in something. I mean, even with the Midnight League that Bub helped me with, people were all skeptical about doing it, and cool. But they kind of knew that there was going to be some type of quality to it if I had anything to do with it. So,
where was that? That was West End.
Everywhere.
Midnight League. I mean, we did it for 1 year with we had 500 players. 500 players. We was at about 6 locations, and then it got so big we even went statewide the second year.
Wow.
We was in East Providence, Pawtucket, Central Falls. I was down in South County. And every day I went to all the places. That's the crazy part. People didn't know that. But I started in South County, and I go to Buck, and I go to East Providence, and I go every day because that's how much I wanted to make sure everything was popping off the way I wanted to. And it did. It was steady for 2 years straight, and nobody ever talks about the crime statistics during those 2 summers. I guarantee you they were at the lowest.
Describe the Midnight League to somebody who wouldn't, like myself, who...
Sure. So midnight basketball is something that I didn't. It didn't originate here in Rhode Island, but we actually made it pretty famous. Actually, Rhode Island Midnight League started many years ago in like the Chad Brown area. I think a dude named Doc Fullen, who was a basketball Rhode Island great. Doc and a few guys from the rec department. I'm trying to think of different names, but people from that era. They were just having a league in Chad Brown. There was a basketball court there, and Chad Brown was tough. Then Chad Brown's nowhere near what it used to be. Nowhere near. Like you wasn't going through Chad Brown. It's like night and day. You wasn't going through Chad Brown if you wasn't from Chad Brown. All right, so it was like that. It was kind of just before the crack era type time period. So we're talking some years ago. They had a basketball league there, and they used to play at night. And then
literally midnight.
Yeah, it was literally like a midnight league, and it was just that league there. And don't quote me on everything, but I just remember being a little guy. I'm about 10 years behind Doc, so I was younger. Going out, that was a spectacle. People went out, took their chairs, and had beer and food and just cooking out little by little. People were selling things, everything. It just was a big...
At midnight.
It was an event, like midnight, yeah.
The game started around 10.
They started around 10, but they went into like 12, 12:30, 1 o'clock.
Right. That's dope.
So that concept kind of grew. Like everything else, we can go from back when Black Panther started things to whenever black people start things, what happens is the city officials get involved. Hey, that's a great idea. What do? They take it.
Citizen Bank came on, sponsored.
All types of people jumping anytime, but for real.
Yeah. And then it ended up at Buckland. So Chad Brown kind of ended, and then ended up at Buckland. And then some community people started to like administer the league. And then they had it at Buckland and Gano Street. And Buckland was the same way as Chad. Like it was like when I became a teenager, it was like, where you going tonight? Midnight League.
Midnight, right? You was getting dressed.
Yeah, you're getting dressed.
You was getting cheated up.
You're getting dressed. But then have some good track shoes on because you might have to run. Yeah. So it was like the equivalent to the Rucker.
This is y'all Rucker.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Our Rucker.
Yep.
I wouldn't say it's because Rucker was hanging on the fence. People like Rucker was crazy.
Nah, Rucker's crazy.
Indictment and all that. Like, but it was our that was our equivalent.
I mean, for our area and our region, it was a Rucker.
Yeah, that sounds fire.
We don't have nowhere near the quality of. I don't want to say we don't have the quality of ball players. We don't have the numbers at all because there was some really good ball players come out of Rhode Island, but. They didn't have the outlets, and they didn't make it as far. Because North Providence too. What about? Don't forget about North Providence. Smith Street was crazy. Smith Street.
That's where all the pros.
That was the pros used to actually come down.
That's where they put the glass backboards in there.
Yeah, yep.
That was probably the first one. That's what I mean. Celtics players.
Yeah.
Everybody came down. They used to come down from New York, Boston. All the teams came from everywhere to play on Smith Street.
Yeah.
So anyhow, this basketball thing really kind of grew and evolved, and so it lied dormant for many years, decades. I mean, it lied dormant for about 20 years. So when this mayor and we'll talk about that. When this mayor came to the community and was like, hey, what's something that I could do real quick that, can get the community together, have some fun, and whatever. And that was just one of the things I was thinking about. I said, we can do this Midnight League thing. He was like, I don't know nothing about basketball. I don't know anything. I said, look, I already got it all planned out. I got it on deck. Just give me the courts. That's all I need. Pay some of the people. It's like a stipend. It wasn't no pay. I mean, Bub couldn't even get no slides with the money I was paying him. So fast forward, signed up about 500 people first time out.
Wow. Was it free that first year?
Or
25.
The league was free.
And they got sneakers.
And then we connected with Reebok. Reebok found out about it. One of my guys.
I didn't know it was that big.
Oh, it got big. Everybody got a free pair of Iversons.
Jersey.
How did I miss it? What year is this?
Yeah. This was
3 years ago?
3 years ago.
3 years ago.
3 years ago?
This was 3 years.
Where was I?
You guys, none of you guys played?
Oh, I definitely didn't play. His son just busted my ass on Sunday.
Oh, Angel was out there giving workout, huh? I seen it. Ed got some of that.
Yeah.
Uncle Ed got some.
Yeah, a lot of people got it.
Yeah, he beat him 15-5 and 15-3.
Oh, I need some of that. When's the next time?
I told him soon
I
as
told
the
him
cap.
Saturday.
I told him, look, just give it up.
I want my
Al.
revenge.
This ain't gonna be no comeback for you.
Alex,
Ain't no redemption for
Come
him.
back.
Stop.
I got you.
Bro,
He
I
got
got you.
better after that.
No.
You have to
Every
understand.
game he did.
He got better then.
I can see the moves, the shots. He was
don't
just
do
like,
it again because you guys made him better then. Like,
The crazy. You can clearly tell one of you on the court has played basketball before. Maybe at a league that was respectfully run, and it wasn't you. So I don't see the skill set improving at all. But I told him as soon as the calf is healed up, I'm gonna have to redeem Allen.
Nah, I got him. He just knows. He knew right away where my weakness was.
Everywhere.
That's where it was.
just went
That's where it
there.
was.
Everywhere.
I'm right-handed, so I only go to my right. So he knew to stop
Cut
that right
you
there
off.
and cut me off. So that was it.
Got to get a spin move down. My
yeah.
He
A
cut me
bully
off.
move or something.
I didn't want to bully. That was too easy. That would be too easy.
That's what Ed tried to do. Didn't work. You still gotta have basketball skill to bully. Okay?
Ed was calling fouls. On non-fouls.
Not fouls. It was hilarious. But I'm mad that wait, is the Midnight League? Well, it's COVID now. It can't be midnight nothing.
So it was taken over by the city, and
What do you mean it was taken over by the city?
So as we said, like I alluded to earlier, you get the politicians involved and things like that. They start to see the, what
Potential
really
of
the
it.
potential. Thank you. They start to see the potential, sponsorship, all that. I'm sorry. They start to see the potential in the program, and they literally, start to ease in it. And then I was uncomfortable with that, and I wasn't getting along with the mayor at the time, and I was just like, you know what? I just bowed out. I said, you can have it. So what they thought in their mind was that it was just basketball. That was my slogan, more than basketball. They thought that, we got the rims, we got the balls.
Right.
What do we need Kobe for? That's what they thought. The following year,
gotta have the community.
it was horrible.
Right.
There was literally, so rewind a little bit. When we was having it, it was back to the old feeling. Hundreds of people, and this
People
is no
bringing
exaggeration.
Chairs out.
Hundreds of people out
Food
there.
trucks.
Food trucks, music. I had a DJ at every spot.
Wow.
DJ at every location.
missed it.
Food trucks.
real?
Giving out free stuff. I had companies
were we,
coming
man?
out there giving out
I
free
was out
good
there.
with the National Guard.
Damn, you were.
Everybody coming out giving out free stuff. It was a spectacle.
Right.
So they thought, what do we need this guy? Because I guess it was getting a little too much. I was getting a little too much play.
Let's take it a little further. The playoffs was a round robin
I didn't even talk about that. right?
at the PCTA. Street blocked off, food trucks out there.
What's the
Tell them about the
PCT?
championship. Where was that at?
The new school,
It's,
across the street from Central.
I was going to say Central 4. Central, yeah.
Oh,
So, yeah,
okay.
right
The
there.
Nice
silver
gym,
building.
nice
Yep,
facility. Then the championship was at the dunk.
Wow.
This was 3 years ago?
Yeah, it was the first. I was the first you do from the streets to get the Dunkin' Donuts Center for free. It's $100,000. It's $100,000 a night. So
Yo,
they gave it to us for free.
that's fire.
Round of applause. Round of applause.
That's fire. Yeah, I'm gonna need a stadium on that house.
And I think to Kobe's credit also, before before bowing out, he was trying to pass the torch to younger guys that were wanting to run leagues. Because you want to start something, but you also want to be able to pass it along to somebody else that can push it forward. And so, but nobody we stepped up.
But that was the thing. People really appreciate that, Bud, because what people don't see with these type of things, they don't see the behind the scenes stuff.
Right.
We had about 50 meetings before the Midnight League. Like they don't understand. And I was with the state police, and they was all showing up too. Like our meeting rooms were like 20 deep. But because people respected me as a leader and as somebody they believed in, we'd have the head of the state police there, Providence police representative, community folks, street workers at these meetings telling everybody what to expect, what's going to happen, and what's the main mission for this basketball league. I didn't give a damn who won. I don't think I watched the full game. I lied every day and said, "Oh, that's a good game, bro."
I saw that.
I didn't see shit.
You had 20.
Nothing. Because it wasn't about basketball. But the community didn't have to know that at the time. I talk about it now, but at the time, I was like, "Yeah, we coming the ball up. Yep, I can do the fake air moves and stuff. You coming the ball up. Yep, they were souped about that. But what it was really about was connections. State police. My state police boys call me up still to this day and say, "Yo, I just pulled over some dude." I was like, "Yo, I know you from the Midnight League." Yeah, all right, man. Have a good day.
Right.
That's what's happened. That's what it was about.
I got pulled over. Me and Sean got pulled over after a Midnight League game. I had the refs all had the neon green bright shirt. Said referee on the back, and he was like, "Where you coming from?" I was like, "Midnight League." He was like, "Okay, keep going."
So the Midnight League was equated with doing something positive, doing something good. You didn't have to say where. You didn't have to say why. I was at the Midnight League.
Right.
And make no mistake, even in the Kobe always sticks to his guns, and we was in the meeting, in the original meetings, like, Kobe, this is gonna be basketball. Like, people are gonna be competitive. You're gonna have some arguments. Kobe's like, "I don't care. It's not about basketball." I'm like, it's a basketball league.
Yeah.
But he's like, I don't care.
It's
No cursing. Like, Kobe, if Kobe was there, no cursing, no
No,
swearing.
when I was on the scene, there was no swearing. But when I wasn't there, I'm sure there was. But if I pulled up
Everybody looking around.
and got out the car,
What
it
the
was
fuck,
like,
man? Oh, shit, there's Kobe right there.
shut him down. Shut him down because it was a family event.
Right.
I wanted little kids to be able to be like, I'm going to the Midnight League. I went to Central Falls like probably the summer after, and I saw some kids at the court. They was like, "Yo, what's the dude from the Midnight League? What's up this summer?" I said, "It ain't gonna happen." Little kid broke my heart, came up to me and said, "My mom would never let me go, but I used to watch out the window every night." Wow. He was like, every Tuesday and Thursday, I'd be looking out my blinds. I got my jinx, everything, and he said I would sit in the window. This kid had to be like 9. He was like, I used to sit in the window and watch. And my mom used to be like, I'm like, help, watch the Midnight League. Be there the whole time. He said, I watched every Tuesday and Thursday. So I know the impact it really had. That's what basketball does. It brings people together. So that's the reason why I did that. So that's just one of the many things that I've done in the community that I'm proud of. I wish it could get, it'll come back. It'll come back.
I think this speaks to a lot to what Kaba talks about, like where we should start with change. And you always bring up that community level aspect. And then it was important that you pointed out just now the whole networking aspect. Like, they don't know you're building connections with state and local police forces. I'm uncomfortable with the street worker title. I don't know.
The street walkers.
Can I give you? That's even worse.
That's not us.
Oh, okay. See, I can't tell the difference. I was a block advocate. Block advocates are there. You know what I mean? And like, again, to your point, it wasn't about basketball. Basketball was just a common denominator that you knew the community would gravitate to. Absolutely. However, you are essentially creating an economy within this community on every Tuesday and Thursday. We don't only just get together. We got food trucks here. It's commendable, bro.
So what happens? What happens? What happens when? Because you think that you think that in situations like that you want to get funding of some sort, right? You think that, well, maybe if we get funding, we have an opportunity to do more. Now, it sounds like you guys did very well on your own, but what happens when you start to get
commercialized a little bit?
Yeah, when you start to get the citizens banks and you start to get the lobbyists and you start to get the politicians, like you said, come in after 2 or 3 years and take over the organization. Why does it spoil the way that it did?
Well, what usually happens is exactly what happened. I'll take blame for that, and part of being a good leader is understand when you was at fault. I think I brought too many people in too fast.
Right.
I should have did it gradually, but that was me with I was thinking from the mindset, the more people I bring in, the more things and opportunities for people. Because I was having people like citizens, they were setting up tables. We were doing everything, employment. Anybody I could bring to a basketball league, I was bringing them with a table. I need you to give some giveaways. I need you to give some jobs. Exactly. So that's why I was bringing them in. So it wasn't per se them that took over. It was the administration thinking, oh, we did all this. We don't, what do we need him for? If they were smart, they would have just, tried to get it on paper. Hey, Kobe, this is our league. But they never did. I own the rights to the Rhode Island Midnight League name. I've coined that. I say, if you go on social media and tag that in, you'll see thousands of pictures. I created the commercial. I let this dude, the reason why I even let the mayor actually lead the commercial, everything. They didn't give no money for that, no nothing. So, yes. So getting back to your point, it just happens. That's how corporate America is. You know about that with hip hop. I mean, with that's what happens. They take something. Let's look at Versus. What's gonna happen to Versus? I give it a year.
Yeah,
it'd be done.
I agree.
It's probably gonna be done because it's gonna be so watered down. It's gonna be so this is something that two people started during COVID or whatever, and now it's bought by Apple, and it's I give it. I'm not gonna say it's gonna be done, but it's not gonna have the same allure.
Yeah.
If they sell to an Apple. But when I heard you just now, I didn't hear the issue with the sponsorship from corporate, but more the influence from government.
It was more the influence from government. I think corporate really didn't. Government stepped in and kind of thought we'll take out the middleman type thing.
Yeah.
Don't. I always go to a street reference. I'm sorry, I'm a street dude in a suit.
Do it. Apologize for that.
Definitely. You on the block or whatever. If you can take out the middleman, why? That's what they figured. But the product wasn't the same.
Yeah, all corporate wanted was photo ops.
Yeah, they didn't care. They was some pictures.
They want to see where their money went.
Did they have to change their name?
It's not much.
Because you own the rights to everything.
No,
right?
so at the time, I just gave it to him. I said, go ahead and keep running the league. But I also got to see, we can look at a picture from side by side. And like I said, the numbers, I mean, literally, they had to bring bleachers from around the city. They had to install temporary bleachers at the different games, especially at Buck. Mm-hmm. They had to put that around the fence. They had to because there was that many people showing up. There was that many people showing up. The next summer, I rode by, just being Petty Murphy.
I love Petty. I love Petty.
I rode by.
So what I used to do,
12 people there.
I used to tweet, right? Because I was refereeing in that league, and I would tweet, tonight I am going to referee the late evening league.
The late evening. The pre-morning league.
Oh, the league was over before the sun went down.
Yeah. Oh, that's what so they changed the time.
So
games were at 6, 7, and 8.
Yeah.
No more music.
No more music. Oh, no DJs.
Like
No
the games
food
were literally
trucks.
6, 7,
No
and
food
8.
trucks.
Because if you look at it, 6 o'clock, summertime, some people get a lot of forfeits because guys are getting out of work at 5,
Right.
having to shoot to whatever league they're in for 6 o'clock.
I don't want to sound like a whole asshole, but it's like you can't take the culture out of.
I was fine with the
something
forfeits.
like that.
One,
You know what I mean? Like
I was fine with the forfeits because I still got paid for the game.
it was an organic build on your part. You know what I mean? It didn't.
Yes.
It didn't cost you any extra thought or stepping outside of yourself to understand how it would work. It's just a part of who you are and how you were brought up. And that part resonates with the people that were playing, the people that were showing up.
Oh, absolutely.
Right?
People that were not fighting, that were not
Right.
shooting. It was
Right.
because of people like myself and Bub. It wasn't. I'm saying me, but I represent the community.
Right.
It wasn't just me, but it was everything I represent. And yo, Kobe, after this league's over, we're gonna need this dude to get a job or some food or Christmas. They know I give away school supplies or Christmas gifts. They know I'm the plug for sure for a lot of that stuff. Me and the people I rock with. Right. So that was I'm not gonna shoot today. And then it just became part of the culture. We ain't gonna shoot at the Midnight League.
And we, people, there was a consensus in the group.
That's what I'm saying.
For guys that we knew that were active, right? It was yo, one, you may not be able to come in, and it sucks to do that to especially young guys that Kobe and I watch grow up from here to now. They're yo, this is what we're trying to do here. We're trying to create a safe environment for everybody, and that there can be one person in that basketball court that somebody doesn't like and rides by and just shoots up the whole court, right? Midnight League over. And so we had those difficult conversations with young guys that we knew was like, yo, you can't come here today. But if you come in, you need to come inside. No hanging outside the gate.
In your car.
Right, in your car, right? Come inside the game and mingle with the people. Because it's easy to ride by a court and see, oh, there's so-and-so's car. Oh, he's in the car? Spray the whole car up. But there was also this, because Corey Brown, shout out to Corey. Corey runs the biggest youth league in the city.
In this city.
And it ran in conjunction
Officer
with the
Brown now, right?
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Officer Brown. And it ran in conjunction with the Midnight League. So it wasn't like Kobe was like, you know what? I don't care what time your league ends. It was like, no, all right, boom. Corey's league ends at this. People are leaving Corey's league to go to a Midnight League game. So it was like activity from Corey's league starts at 5 all the way until 10, 11 o'clock.
But my whole goal was unification, and it always has been. And you can't do that if you're breaking up the family constantly, right?
Yeah.
So here we are. I'm picturing, and I'm gonna go with the dads. I'm biased with that. we catch a bad rap. We could talk about Father's Day. I still think it's like Groundhog's Day. We get torched on Father's Day. Sucks. So
Made
by
your
the
coffee,
way,
Dad.
what's that?
Made your coffee, Dad.
Yeah, happy Father's
exactly.
Day.
Yeah. It's a tie. Don't you see? I got like 3,000 ties. I don't need your tie, kid.
Fuck a tie. Hate tie.
Knock out this bill, homie.
So look, I digress with some Father's Day because my wife says I'm a hater, but it's real deal. So I'm all about the family unit. So we have to think about those things a little deeper when we have these programs and all this stuff. So we got the fathers, and we want the fathers with their kids coaching and reffing at Corey Brown's league, which is one of the best leagues in the state for sure. And then after that, we want to give them a chance to go home and have some dinner too. So it ain't like rush over to the other court. How many programs you know like that? You got to rush all around, just like the school drop off and pick up. It's whack. They need to do it on a staggered schedule, but they don't think about the families that they want to stay together and how black dads ain't there and all that. Yeah, because I'm trying to work, and you got this schedule for this and that. So we had the Midnight League started at like 8, 9 o'clock because you had dinner. You could tuck the little ones in and then bring your teenagers out with you.
Right.
Do that, still get home in enough time, that's your night out. You don't have to do the blunt ride. You don't have to. You come to the Midnight League. So we were stopping all that. People don't understand, and I wish I was able to quantify all that stuff, and I wish I had some folks that could do some statistics on that, because at the end of the second year, it was getting so big, unbeknownst to a lot of people in Providence. People from Philly and New Jersey reached out to me. And they was like, man, we're hearing so much about your Rhode Island Midnight League, man. Can we just have can you just give us the blueprint? And absolutely. I ended up emailing these folks everything that I had, schedules, how to do it, the meetings, all that stuff. So that was that. But then that next year, we had big plans for it, but it stopped because of bureaucracy.
But Reem, I think you brought up a good point, and I didn't think about it either then, is the economics involved. Right? Like you got young kids getting paid to do the game clock. You got the referees getting paid. Now you got the food trucks there. Now you recycling that dollar and it's staying right here.
Staying in the hood.
Just for that, just for those couple of months, right? Those couple of weeks that dollar was recycling, and
the big deal.
I mean, it was beating the average. The average black dollar stays in our neighborhoods for about 6-8 hours.
Yeah.
Right.
It was beating that. So. And
then now, if I put the timetable together, just to try to like quantify those statistics, if I go from Corey's to dinner to Midnight League, I've just had 7 hours of uninterrupted family time, no violence.
You got to see your kids
kids interaction.
Dapped up a couple cops. Yeah. You get to meet. You've seen some politicians, whatever. I mean, all of that. Now your community. Now you know the same people that are in your community. I mean, literally, I'm talking. I mean, it was the sea. You go to the court. I mean. And it's crazy because we never really had problems with people on the court, stuff like that. I mean, it was such a respect thing. I'm sure Bub had his nights. There was some rough nights, and that was fine. But the majority of the time, it was so cooperative. Everybody was chilling, having a good time. It was just a great atmosphere to have a destination. In our neighborhoods right now, us just sitting here, if we all decided, what we going to do? It's going to involve drinking, smoking, or at a restaurant or something. There's really nowhere to go to do anything.
Right.
Especially outside.
What do they say? Idle time is the devil's workshop, or play shop, or something like that.
Playtime.
Idle mind is the devil's workshop.
If you were to have the opportunity to reignite it today, would you? And if you would, how would you do it differently?
So I've been, withdrawn from the streets for a little bit. So it would be tough. This is why what comes into the block advocate over here. I would have to start there, because no matter what people say about the street workers and things like that, and I've been a harsh critic myself, so at times they still are the closest to the streets that anybody is. So I would have to start there. I would also go back to the police. I don't care what people are talking about with the defunding and all that stuff like that. I would have to go back to the police, start at the top again, state police, because that's who I rock with. Yep. And I rock with them because they have some integrity and they have a little bit of class about them, as much as you can as a law enforcement officer. So that's why I continue to rock with them. I'll never hide that at all. And so that's what I know I can do it. I plan on doing it again. I do plan, even in my role right now at the YMCA, Greater Providence. Just built some new courts in Warwick. The only thing about it is it's just tough because there's really no courts right now that I even know enough about. Because I do my homework. I want to know what gangs in the area. I want to know, the terrain. I want to know what cops are patrolling that area. I want to know what beef was before. And I knew all that at that time, 3 years ago. I was really heavy in the streets. But now, I don't know as much. So that's why I would start. I would start with Bub's crew, for sure.
So what got you into being a community guy, quote unquote? What got you to caring about the community?
That's growing up, in high school, just literally wanting to be like a dope dealer. I wanted to sell crack, for sure.
I love that.
I wanted to sell crack.
That's fire, Kobe. You're on fire today.
No,
I got the dunk on the house, and I grew up wanting to sell crack.
I wanted to sell crack, but my mom wasn't having that. And thank God to this day, I still thank
I
her.
dare you to say it. Reem, say it.
Who?
Say what about the crack and the mamas. Go ahead.
I don't really know.
Yeah, talk about Google like that. See what
I think it's true, though.
she'll pull up on that.
My mom ain't no joke. She don't play.
Yeah,
So my mom wasn't a viable option for me. I thought it was because my boys was, drop tops. They was, and we're in Providence now. We're in New York. Dudes was coming with Camaros then. It was convertible Camaro red joints. 11th grade, 12th grade. It was coming like that. And I'm still scrapping change to get, on the bus or a token.
IROC Z's.
We used the IROCs, Z's, all that. They was getting it. And I was like, I'm smarter than these dudes. So I want to get it too.
He was going to be ghost.
I definitely. So fast forward, went to the military because, Providence school system failed me for sure. Went to the military and thinking that it was going to be the easier route. 6 months later, went to war.
Oof, right.
Gulf War. So I was like, what the fuck? I could have stayed in Southside for this shit.
Right.
If I wanted to get shot at.
Probably shot at less.
A lot less. Went to war 4 years, traveled the world. I'm a military veteran, so I'm proud of all these things now, in hindsight. But at the time, crying at night, I was shook. Right. Oh, for sure. That was no joke. That shit was real. Boom, boom. Like nothing like you ever heard before. And when I was in the military, one of my jobs was a night vision watch. And what that is, it sounds real crazy. But you're at the tip of the ship. And, you are at the bow. And you're just imagine that now. I'm standing here just at the tip of the ship, and I got like seat belts strapped in. Like we in the Red Sea, or we're in wherever, the Atlantic. It doesn't matter what ocean body of water we was in. But at night, you don't see all this. The seas are so rough. Waves going over the ship, over my head. So I'm standing there. My job was to look out for mines, because there was mines in the water. So I had to look at that visibly. Now they had the sonar, but I was the second. I was the backup.
Second check.
I was like, what the fuck? So first of all,
That's
if I ever saw one, I was going to die.
You the closest to it. It's you first.
Mine, it was going to
Boom.
be boom. So being 18 out of Southside,
That's suicide
I
watch.
really didn't get that concept too much. So
Oh, okay. That's where.
that was
all right.
tough. So
That's where night vision.
That's where
came
night
from.
vision came from.
Okay.
So night vision, That's what I did. So I had to put on night vision goggles, and I would see like dead bodies and animals, whatever. I never saw a mind.
The
Thank
neon
God.
green.
Thank
and
God.
Yes, neon,
See
yeah.
that? Nah,
Look,
I get it now.
Years later, he's realized why my program was called Night Vision. So
I didn't know it.
when I came back from war, I realized that I could see at night what other people couldn't see. So I named my program Project Night Vision. So in the streets, I could see all the pain and the shit that was happening in South Providence and wherever, and in my neighborhood that wasn't right. But in the military, I could see, and I felt powerful in the military, 18, 19, with night vision goggles, and shit was like five G's, you know, and I got to wear them. I felt privileged, but that's how they suit you up. They didn't tell you was going to die if you saw something. So fast forward.
Yeah, just real quick.
Yeah.
Imagine the Army selling you, or any military branch selling you on. We got a good job for you, all right? You're gonna be night
close.
vision.
It's called night vision,
I was this close.
but not suicide watch. That's
Yeah,
suicide.
you're gonna be night vision, right?
Suicide
And you're gonna be
watch,
key. You're gonna be essential
to the
to
rest
the
of us.
survival of this boat and this ship. We're gonna strap you to the bow, right to the front, okay? At night.
That's crazy.
Pitch dark. I couldn't see nothing.
When the waves are
see my
at
head.
worst.
Look at
Water
these
just
$10,000 night vision glasses you're gonna wear. Look at them. Look at how cool. Cut the lights out, Dave. There you go.
You being
Nice.
waterboarded every 10 seconds.
That's pretty much what that was.
It's like, yo, you think
Salt water all up
so
your
you
nose.
think you're real in these streets? You think you're real in these streets? I got a job for you. Come on.
Just let us know if you find a mine.
Could you
All
see
that
the
time.
mines with the night
He
vision
didn't see
goggles?
none.
No, it
Boats
wasn't a
don't
boat.
stop like that in the water.
Yeah, by the way, I don't want to talk nautical stuff, but the boat's probably doing about 65, 70 miles an hour. Flying, going like this, up and down, boom, and it's making a loud noise.
It's
like,
not a boat. This is a
boom,
ship.
these are ships. These are ships. Wow. So, anyway, yeah, they didn't. By the way, I was PPSD educated, but I wasn't that dumb that they didn't really sell the night vision thing to you. they kind of that was some funny shit. They don't tell you you're gonna do that.
They don't tell you you're gonna do
They don't
that.
tell you
I
until you
can't
get
imagine they would.
until you get way overseas and they're like.
And you already signed that contract. You ain't
Yeah,
going
yeah,
over for the next 4 years.
Oh, that's
until
another
you
thing too.
get
People don't
court-martialed.
know. Kids at 18, 19 come from the hood don't know about like a contract. You
Right.
just think, I'm out of here. I'm fuck this. I'm out of here. No.
Obligated.
Once they say the brig and they show you what the brig is, it make ACI look like a playground. So you was like, I ain't going there, because if I would have just went AWOL, that's where I would have went. So I get back to Providence. I realized things is messed up. This is early 90s. Things was messed up. It was, the streets was tough then. Crack was still hanging on, but not nowhere near like it was. But it was still definitely a crack era, I would consider. People getting arrested. It was just crazy. Social injustice was the criminal justice system was at its all-time high. It was really bad then, really bad.
That's how we surged to lead the world in incarceration.
Incarceration,
Figures.
for sure.
And crack
You
era
can put out
definitely
numbers and
did
stuff
it,
like
boy.
that. I don't want to bore your
War
listeners
on drugs.
with the statistics and things, but
I'm about that math.
definitely.
I don't mind it at
War
all.
on drugs was crazy right then. But so I just
Which
decided I
was
wanted to
really
start
a
helping
war
people.
on poor people.
What's
Right.
that?
That's what it was.
That's what it
Yeah,
was.
yeah.
It was. Poor people of color.
Black
Which
people.
is
Because it wasn't
unfortunate.
really all poor people. Because poor people in Ohio, because I lived in Ohio, poor people in Ohio wasn't messed with. Poor people in swamps and stuff, was in Florida and stuff, they wasn't messed with. It was black poor people
Yeah.
Yeah.
that they fed them drugs to. And all them little drug movies you watch, all that shit's real true. That's just true. It's just, they just try to put a spin on it to,
Yeah.
but all that stuff about the FBI and
The Contra.
all the Contra era and all that stuff. That's all that stuff is true. And I've seen a lot of that in the military. It's funny about how we used to dump out. People say, "Where you put your trash at?" I said, "We used to dump it in the water." People would be like, "What?" Yes, back in the 90s, they didn't have all these rules, EPA rules and all that stuff. We dumped the trash in the ocean, for sure.
I'd rather find some trash than a mine.
So,
Yeah.
trash, dead body, all kinds. I've seen it all out there. So when I get back, what got me into the community work, I just started seeing lost kids. Kids were, they were just walking around aimlessly, not knowing what to do between like the peak hours, 5 and 8. There was no programs going on, things like that. All these programs that you see now, they knew. They just came about. I had probably one of the first youth programs at night. I know I had the first one. So that's why I wanted to do it where there was a gap in services. I did it at night. Everybody, after school kids, Everybody gets taken care of after school from 2:30 to about 5:30. What do you do with that teenager from 5:30 to 9 o'clock? They're not going to bed. So I started night vision. Started at a local playground right in Chad. Started at a playground, just having 10 or 15 kids come play ball. This kind of reminds me of your story, like let me borrow your kid. It was, I was like, bring your kids on over. I'd see people, bring your kids. They're like, oh, this shit's kind of weird. This dude's strange. He just wants to play with a bunch of
6
playing with
o'clock
a bunch
at
of kids. Like, 6 o'clock at night.
Bring your kids.
What's going on? But it takes trust. It took time, consistency. I did it all the time. I would, every night after work, I'd go home. My wife was like, where are you going? I'm going out chill with the kids. Even she looking at me like, the hell?
I'm in these streets, boo.
What you doing? So I'd be out there, and I'd start listening to the kids and learning what they needed, what they wanted. First thing was food. You know, These kids was hungry. It was easy. So I wasn't paid, but I could buy some pizzas, pizza, all that. So now more kids are coming. Oh, this is student in the hood. He's buying pizzas and shit. People, before you know, I got 30, 40 kids out there like every night. Like at the just different playgrounds that I would pick and tell them, hey, meet me here Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Finally, fast forward about a year of that. Now the mayor and everybody, the mayor at the time was Tavares. He's catching notice and taking notice, and they're like, people are just hitting him up like, you got to do something for this dude. Give him a place. So they gave me a couple rec centers, and the rec centers, they didn't really like that because it kind of made it look like they wasn't doing their job, which they wasn't doing their job. I'll say that for sure. They just wasn't doing their job. Yep. That's all. The rec centers had the mentality to throw a ball out there.
The recs weren't designed for programming.
They weren't that. There you go. That's a great point. But that's the way to put it. Because I don't like to blame the people. Everybody always thought it was a personal attack on the directors, like the Cedrics and those guys. I respect all those guys to the fullest for standing their ground and doing what they do.
I grew up in the recs. So
it's the facilities.
It wasn't designed for programming.
They wasn't. There's a gym, some bathrooms, or some locker rooms, a pool outside, and like an office in like a little area. That's what those buildings, big as those buildings are, that's why they're built. They have a gym in them. They have like a little community room, some locker rooms, and some hallways. That's how they built those recs. That's not no technology, no nothing. And it's like 10, 11 of those in the city. They're all built the same way too. So they're not really trying to help us out. So I always kind of despise the whole rec mentality. I know people needed to go there, but you're not helping us out, man. You can't just throw a basketball out there and have the kids fend for themselves. They're not learning how to play anything. They're not learning how to do anything. I didn't like it. They're better now. They're a little better now. I'm not going to just take it down there. I'm talking at the time. Because we're talking the early 2000, late 2000s, like 2010 now, because this was, some time had elapsed. So
we skipped all over T.I. and trap music.
Yeah, we missed it.
Hey,
we're right there. We're right there.
It's Drake time now.
So going up 2010, the programs are running. I'm doing 100, 200 kids a day, sometimes by myself. You know what I mean? Nobody, because it was all volunteer. By the way, ain't no money involved.
Right.
And that's why they was cool with it. They was like, he ain't asking for no money, no checks. Mm-hmm. They was cool with that. So by then, I had so many people doing it. Once again, the corporate thing. Poland Springs would drop off 1,000 cases of water at the beginning of the summer. Whole Foods. Nobody had a Whole Foods Connect. I had connects with companies before people even started doing collaborations. Right. Whole Foods would drop off not only food, they was dropping off and you know how expensive it is to get other stuff from Whole Foods other than food. The food's expensive, but other stuff like hair products, deodorants, like all that stuff.
That's money.
Whole Foods, right? Everything at Whole Foods is expensive, and even they was giving me that stuff for free, and I was giving it to the kids.
This pre-Amazon too, before the prices
way
dropped.
Before that. Yep. So this is how the program went. So the program was pretty much we did sports. I took them on trips. I mean, we met Celtics. This program got so big that the president of the Boston Celtics at the time, when I launched it, one time came down. One of my guys called him up. He said, this is how, especially white folks in Rhode Island. Oh, I know the president of Boston Celtics. I'm like, he said, you want me to bring him down to kick off the program? I'm like, sure. I'm like, whatever, he ain't coming down. Literally, in Chad Brown press conference, Lexus pulls up, big body. He pulls up, tinted windows. Now, I got a little bit of media out there. He gets out. Anybody know Kobe? He's like, oh, what's up? I don't even remember his name at the time. He gets out. He was like, yeah, and had his whole script. Night Vision is the best program ever. He didn't know. He didn't even know my name. Got up there. All the media started. Word got out that he was dead. Media started coming. And the checks started rolling in. I think that was my first like $10,000 check. Providence College donated like $10,000. All these places that never did anything. And 100% of the money, I didn't
PC right up the street.
Right there. Never saw us all the time in the hood. They didn't do nothing. But they saw him. That's all about, right?
Yeah.
You know? Started donating money. All I did with that money was buy food for the kids, T-shirts. I believed in the whole, you know, because that gang mentality is real. They want to belong to something. So Brandon was everything. So I made sure every kid had a T-shirt. Kids had hoodies. We had night vision, everything. There's still people walking around with night vision T-shirts, and I haven't had night vision probably in about, it's about 6 years now.
Wow.
6 years.
But Alex, to speak to the community leader like title, I don't think any of us that have that title, one, it's not self-anointed. You know what I mean? It's given to you by the community. But I don't think anybody that has it wanted it. I think it just it happens.
That's what it sounds like.
Yeah, like I didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't when I started as a street worker. It wasn't about
block advocate. I just think you're selling ass when you say street worker. I said, imagine
That's
you out
what you
there selling ass, bro.
That's a sex worker, bro.
Yeah, I guess. I gotta. It's me. It's not you. Street worker.
I think that wasn't my aim or goal at all. It was just to help the community, and then all of a sudden, when people see you, I think it's the people that have that title and it's given by the community sees value in you, and so they're like, "Yo, you're a community leader," and then your phone starts to ring and never stops ringing, and then people are always calling on you for things, and I think when you show up and provide what they need or actually help them, if you can't provide it, guiding them to where they can get those resources or services, I think that's where the word community leader comes in, because one, they see you all the time. Two, they trust you. Three, you provide a service, or you can find them things that they
Consistency.
need. Consistency.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's the common thread that I'm hearing. Showing up.
Yeah.
You got to show up,
Right?
man.
Showing up. Good for you.
So-
for having
so
that
you ran for mayor?
self-initiation.
Yes.
Of Providence.
Of Providence. First black man to
You
run
said-
for mayor.
Why?
That I know.
About to switch this night vision to
What's wrong
day
with
vision
you?
right
Cobb
now.
was like, "What's wrong with you?"
Nah. What? I mean, it sounds as though, and correct me if and where I'm wrong. It sounds as though you've always had this enamoration for whether you want to call it the hood, the block, the community, whatever it is. And in that enamoration, you left and explored something else, and then came back and saw that being exploited. And it sounds like, whether subconsciously or consciously, you made an effort to try to mitigate that by making these very small incremental changes in one little sector called basketball, right? And then that kind of got diminished along the way somehow, and for whatever reason, it still seems like you still were energetic. Like I said, you were still a community coach or a leader here at the community center. So it still seems like you were energetic enough, even with those things in place, to say, you know what, maybe there's a different position that I could take this in. Am I?
No, yeah, that's exactly. I mean, you asked me the question, but you answered it as well.
Good job, Cobb.
With some great vocabulary within enamoration. I like that.
That was a good one too.
You know, so that's exactly what happened. You know, bottom line, I got souped up. Anybody ever get? And people don't like to admit that they got a battery put in their back one time or another. Mm-hmm. I did. I got souped right up. Like, you know, the community leader, everybody likes you.
Yeah, you
this
had
is
the
all
community,
perception.
so
you know, so you figure, okay, that's
A
who
community.
votes. Man, when I ran for mayor, it had to be the loneliest time in my life. Loneliest
tell.
time in my life. The phone didn't ring like it was ringing when I was a regular community leader. It didn't ring nowhere near when I was doing Midnight League. It didn't ring at all. It was very lonely. some people that I really thought was in my corner was nowhere to be found. And I wasn't asking for like no money or nothing like that. I was like, damn, could you knock on a door, pass out a flyer, tell somebody to vote?
So now, when we say that phone didn't ring, and I'm sorry to cut you off.
No.
Was it about calls being from people in position of power who you had this working relationship with as long as you were in a specific space? But the minute you aspired to fly too close to the sun.
I could say this because I seen it when our current mayor became mayor for his first term. I know somebody who he called all the time. And that was Kobi. All the time. Anything that was going on in the community, we called Kobi Dennis. Regardless of what it was, like, call Kobi Dennis. And I remember he came to the Institute, and he was just, at that time there was a lot of shootings between the East Side, South Side, and he sits at our table. He's like, "Where's Kobi Dennis in all this?" I'm like,
You know he don't work here, right?
You're the mayor.
No, but I'm like, why?
So that's one of those. I'm a typical politician. I'm coming to shake hands because I need your vote, type of thing. It's like, oh,
right, but I think he was, Kobi's name buzzing in the community, and Kobi's everywhere. He shows up to everything. That was my one thing with anybody that may have disagreed with Kobi. We've had our disagreements, but like, he showed up, regardless of what it was. No ill feelings against anybody. There was a community event. He was there. But I'm like, you're coming to the Nonviolence Institute to find out about violence between two particular sets of towns, and I believe you really came here because you felt like we had the answers to it. And it was like, I'm looking at staff that's around the table. I'm like, you want me to call him? I mean, I can. You want him here in this meeting? And it was just, he just was, at that time, wasn't in the know of what was going on in the streets. And instead of using other people that did know, you came to the Institute because we deal with the violence directly, and that's what we do. But it was more along the lines why I said that to your question. It was like, once Kobi went for mayor, it was like,
kind of stepped out of your lane. We liked you at night. we liked you at midnight with the kids, in these specific ball courts, and the positive influence that you have on the violent statistics, especially over the summer. We love that. What you're doing right there. But now, to your point of, it should charge me up. Like, I'm making a difference, and it's really working out. Because people are taking it.
Me and Archie, that's Kobi's man. That's my guy too. We would have conversations, and Archie used to work with the Nonviolence Institute, and we would talk all the time. And I was like, Archie, I'm not hearing nothing. One, I can't vote because I don't live in Providence, and it was like, I'm not hearing nothing. Like, from our immediate circles of people, like Kobi said, who you would think would be like, fuck it, even if he's black.
Why is that? Why? Is there anything that people were hearing?
Politics is a selfish game.
I think that's kind of my question I was going to ask, because I don't vote. I'm going to tell you right now. I don't believe that it works. That's my personal
view. So you wouldn't have got his vote. He lives in Providence too.
However,
that's a whole different podcast right there. That's a whole different podcast right there.
I'm coming back.
Yeah, come back for that one. You
see, Kobi's this is
the guy he wants to see the system change the most.
Kobi's like, erase this podcast. This episode is deleted.
But the one time I did actually vote for the first time, and was the year that you were running, but I didn't know anything about you, and I wasn't going to go out of my way to do homework because I don't believe in politics, right? So I fucked up and I voted for Loza because that's what I knew. What do you think? What could have changed that? Do you think that it was like a money play? Like, I know that he has a lot of money backing him.
Yeah.
Is that like a fault that
I mean, let's get back. I mean, I'm gonna go back around because I want to get back to the original question of why do you think the phone started ringing, stopped ringing, and stuff like that. And I think it had a lot to do with not only the higher ups thought I was out of my realm, so did our own people.
My brother. Yeah, you put on wings? Nah.
Exactly.
Oh, you a Michael?
Stop.
You an archangel or
That's
something?
exactly what happened. So in our own people do that a lot, even your own family. Like if you go to your family and be like, oh, now I'm selling, art, or I'm doing a podcast or whatever. But you know you supposed to do this, and
You a mechanic. Okay.
you're a mechanic.
Fix a car.
That's it.
Yeah.
So you can't. I don't know. They didn't want us to, have a diverse portfolio, man. They don't want us to do different things, and our own people are stuck in that mindset.
Yep.
So people didn't look at me that way, like a politician, bro. Come on, what's up, Kobe? How you doing? My T-shirt says, "I appreciate your warm embrace, but are you registered to vote?" Because people come up to me in the streets all the time. What up, Kobe? I got your back, son. And I'd be like, "You registered to vote, bro?" Nah.
Huh?
Then,
Al?
I'm registered.
then you can't do anything for me. So you would have at least been. If I would have talked to you, I would have got the vote, bro.
You would have.
But I didn't get. That's another thing. You can't talk to everybody. The city's huge, man. There's a lot of people here. So to what you're saying, money plays a big role, and that's part of what I changed. The Secretary of State's office just reached out to me. Here it is 2 years later. They're like, Kobe, what are some of the things that you would say that were problematic during the election? Now they want to know and do market research and all that stuff. Like during the election, they didn't give a damn, but now they want to know 2 years later. And I sent them a whole list, and I'm like, you want more? I can give them like 50 reasons why it was problematic, and one of them has to do with money. If in society now, the person with the most money is the person that is on top. So how could you make the election about money? It's not cool. So
Are you proposing like a salary cap almost
pretty much.
for elections?
Absolutely.
You're only allowed to spend this much money.
Or even
on your
raise
campaign.
this much money. Why
Or
do you
raise
need
this
$1
much
million? I've also got $1 million in the bank right now. And he was doing it. And the reason why people do that is because they're getting ready for the next level. Like he can't just spend that on the vacation, but he can and go to prison. But he's saving that because in the election rules, which I found out all this for my first time running, you can take that money and transfer it over to another election, to another form of government. Or you can take the money, which I did, and donate it back to the community.
So this is why Gina got all that money.
And let's not be unclear about why he's getting this money. The money is to influence political decisions in the future.
That too.
Absolutely.
That too, because you with money, that
Do you see
symbolizes
why?
power.
Do you see why I don't bother?
I mean,
Well, you still hope that the person that gets elected is going to use the money in a righteous
You
manner.
hope, but I have yet to see that. So why would I? And again, I didn't meet you, so I didn't know. I didn't know at the time.
We heard you the first time.
Al looked at that what's her name, turned into one of them
He's a bitch.
crab in the barrel niggas. He's like, Kobe,
Kobe's a bitch.
unless that nigga shooting jump shots, he ain't getting my
He
vote.
ain't get me. He ain't get me.
That's what happened.
there you go.
I didn't know anything about Kobe. I didn't know if he was black. I didn't know anything. I didn't bother to look.
Damn, that's all you learned today was black. I didn't know he was black. I'm like, this nigga used to look for mines.
Kobe, what was the?
Oh man, that's good stuff.
You hear things about when people run for political office that they're gonna dig deep into your past. Was it? Do they do any of that?
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
I was afraid every day.
They gonna find your journal with like, all I want to do
But
is
they
sell
only-
crack.
The reason I've been on at least podcasts. That was the first time going on podcast shows when I ran for mayor. I didn't know anything about it. But I probably was on about 50, 60. And I would tell the same stories because that's what they say. You got to keep telling that. So I told that story before. It wasn't that. It was the things that they hold against you is, they start looking into your transcripts and shit, your grades and all that shit. I wasn't the best student. So that's the kind of stuff they'll take and they'll flip. Like, oh, he wants to run the city? Well, he got C's.
He couldn't even run math.
Yeah, exactly. So, because if you notice, when the law said that's all they talked about. He went to classical high school. And then, they tried to make it seem like he
college
was much
education,
smarter
all that.
than,
Yeah.
the average person, and which they try to do with classical all the time. So.
And you know what's funny is that we talk about American like that nationalism that we have, American nationalism. You were a war veteran. They
didn't mention
skip
it at all.
At all.
Never.
That's crazy.
Never. Didn't talk about anything that I ever did, all the awards I got. I probably got every award that the city has ever given out. Actually, Allah had to give me an award. Since he's been mayor, he's had to give me at least 2 or 3 awards. So I've received almost every award. All that, like you said, I'm fine in certain places.
Right.
I'm fine. They could.
We'll celebrate you here.
Yeah, they'll celebrate me at this level right here. As soon as he tries to get up here, let's shut it down. And you know where I learned that from? So I'm writing a book right now. It's called Mayoral. Mayoral the book, because I'm trying to tell people that you don't have to win. You don't have to win a mayorship to be mayor-like. I'm still the mayor of the hood. I still people, they call me the mayor of the culture. That's the nickname they gave me as far as mayor, and that's all in the pages of my book, talking about my experiences. And one chapter I'm talking about how I went to Federal Hill, and literally it was like a movie. Like literally it was a restaurant owner. I went from restaurant owner to restaurant owner, and they was sitting in there in a dark room. Literally, I was scared a few times, and this is only 2 years ago. And they'd be in the restaurant, and they had invited me just to tell me, look, nigga, we ain't voting for you. That's what that was for. But they're still respectful.
Enjoy the pasta.
They're still
Drink up.
Yeah.
Have whatever you want to drink. Kobe, have a seat.
Yeah,
They're
respectful.
sitting here, I'm sitting there, it's dark. I'm like,
You know something? I can respect.
yo, you can't be. That's what
I can fuck with that.
Yeah.
Come
Keep it 100.
in my face.
Keep it up.
In my face.
Keep it 100.
Hey,
inviting me there.
I like you, but I can't fuck with what you about.
That's exactly what they were saying.
Not even what you're about. Whatever you're about. Not good for my brain.
Not even interest.
But you and your partners enjoy yourselves.
Yeah.
Have whatever you want.
Have a couple drinks.
That happened at least 20
And
times.
it was that short. It was that short.
It was short with them.
Yeah.
But then
That's what I'm
just help
saying.
yourself.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to introduce myself. I wanted to meet you. You seem
Yeah.
like a stand-up guy. You dress well. I hear a lot of good things about you, but I'm not going to support you.
Right.
Me or my friends.
All my friends.
So can you tell us about the quiet cries in the shower after leaving a kind of meeting like that, where it's like, what does a nigga have to do?
And I'm glad. I like that. I might have to name one of the chapters. Quiet crying.
Quiet cries in the shower, bro. Been there.
It's a real deal, man. When you really break down and be like, damn, what do I have to do to get on an even playing field with the average man? What do I have to do? No, I've had plenty of cries in the shower, in the car. Right. What am I doing? Why would I do this? It was a year too. A year's a long time.
Yeah.
To do something every day. And I had to work. Oh, another thing, like Alonzo didn't work the whole year. Took a sabbatical. I had to work 9 to 5. Then from 5 to 10.
Shake hands.
Campaign, shake hands, kiss babies. Get home 10, try to eat whatever was in the microwave. Get up 5 o'clock in the morning, study, because I didn't know nothing about. No one had ever taught. There was no torch being passed. This wasn't, block advocate, basketball, whatever, where somebody in the hood knows how to do that. Mm-hmm. I have no dad in the family, and I don't even like to mention that because that's what the story that they wanted. So I never really said. I never talked about that.
Never a handicap.
They wasn't gonna give me that. So I had to get up and study. I'll never forget the first time. I was up there on the podium when it's just like me and the other 2 candidates. That's some real pressure. All the news cameras there, everything, and you don't know what they're gonna ask you. So you're studying a bunch of stuff that you don't even know what they're gonna say. Man, luckily, out of the 5 questions, I answered 3 good. 2, I was the reason why people started respecting me and I started getting some momentum because I just kept it a buck and was like, I have no idea. I have no idea what you're talking about. And people kind of respected that. They were like, he didn't try to bullshit us.
Yeah, don't bullshit me.
And like a couple of numbers, because you got to know numbers. You got to know statistics. Like I had to know it was 39. I didn't know there was 39 cities and towns in Rhode Island until I started running for mayor. Who knows that there's 39? What? 39?
Lived here all my life, wouldn't know
the
that.
Numbers, talking about.
You know what a town is?
I do now.
Okay.
Yeah, 39 cities and
Damn
towns.
town halls.
Million
What'd you say?
people in Rhode
You know what a
Island,
town is?
All those different numbers, you had to be able to spit them out and saying, and talk a little bit about all the time. Even though I was running for mayor of Providence, you had to know a little bit about all that.
Right.
Everywhere. So.
Because you do have to work in conjunction with those under the state governance and whatnot, right? Yeah, that makes sense.
Looking back at that, do you think that going for mayor was maybe too high? Should you have started like maybe, I don't know what the
councilman?
Yeah, like
Councilman.
work your way through the rank, like I guess the rankings, like councilman, and work your way that way to build it up. Like, what made you go straight for mayor? Like, was it just
Fucking shoot for the stars.
They said the battery. They put the battery in his back.
I said that I thought I could do it. First of all, I was misled because I thought more people were registered to vote than they are. But if we talk about numbers, I could give you some real grim numbers, like 186,000, people in our city, and say if they have, let's just break it down to a little area. Say this area over here, there's a small election and there's 10,000 people in Southside. Say 10,000, let's go with Southside. 10, 15,000 people in Southside. I don't know what the numbers are anymore. But registered voters, probably about 7,000. But at the polls, how many people show up? Probably about 500-600.
wow?
So now,
Fucking Alex.
so that's the kind of, 499.
499.
So my point is, the math, I didn't have it right, man. I know I didn't do that great in school.
Title of the podcast.
The math was off, man. I didn't know. I just thought everybody was registered to vote. I thought it was something.
Like it came with your license.
I thought so.
Did you think like
I was misled.
was there any ego involved, right? Like I'm Kobi, right? Like I know like this is a lower scale of running for mayor, but like when I started as a street worker, block advocate.
There you go.
You're right, bro.
Messed up.
Because I knew everybody and their mama.
You thought that was
I'm coming in, I'm shutting every beef down. Every beef. And like 3 months in, I was like,
This shit's above my pay grade.
yeah, this is above.
I want to go home.
Yeah, this beef is above my pay grade.
Niggas can get shot every day. I don't give a fuck. But no, it was just like one of those things. That was my ego talking, right? It wasn't, I didn't humble myself to be, I was quickly humbled, but was there any ego involved?
Absolutely. You can't, ego's involved in a lot of things. But definitely, ego, battery in the back, thinking my people are more advanced than they really are. I'm thinking we evolved. Yeah, please. We had a black president, everybody's registered to vote.
No, not the case.
That wasn't the case. So yeah, I thought I could get
me
to that level and do things that other people wouldn't do. You guys were talking about, I thought it was a comical conversation that you guys were having when I came in, pretty much about like during Obama's last couple of years, man, he should have been wilding out. I'm not gonna lie. I really had plans of doing some stuff. Like really.
Just radical. Just radical. Not wild, radical.
I would definitely was gonna do some things that I could control, like a black major. Right now, you guys will start seeing, 2015, I had this thing called the Black Major Movement. And the Black Major Movement was simply for the mayor of Providence to make a major of the Providence Police Department, And when I say make a major, that's just what they do. They can say, you know what? Actually, it can be one of you guys. They can say, you are now the major in the Providence Police Department, and that's a high-ranking officer. They don't have to go. You don't have to go to no training.
Wow.
You don't do nothing. You can just make a major.
Right.
And it's crazy. It's one of the loopholes in the police department that snuck by the Bill of Rights, and he wouldn't do it. So for like a year straight, I had banners. I'd be on the street corners, everything. It just went away like a year ago. So now with all this momentum we got now, people are like, yo, you should bring that back out. They're kind of liking black people right now. You might get that black major, because the reason why I want a black major, if you're wondering, is because they could actually do things from the top down. Black police officers getting on the force, no disrespect to Corey or any of those folks that are just getting on. It'd take him about 20 years before he can start doing something.
Right.
Before he can really start making some decisions and stuff like that.
Get up to sergeant.
He can't even get the shift
maybe
he wants right
lieutenant.
now.
Right.
He can't even get the day off he wants right now, because that's how low on the totem pole they are. It takes about 10, 15 years. I want there to be a black major that can, you know what? No, shut that down. Yep, you want a block party? Yep, do that. I wanted to do that. So that's coming back out. So start to look out for that. Support that.
I like that.
I'm starting to see and read a lot about like historic events, especially like starting with the World War II era, right? And it's interesting when we start talking about voting, because whenever we start talking about voting, I get very uncomfortable, because I sit in the middle of people like you and people like Alex, right? Where I can do enough research to figure out who you are, but by the time I figure out who you are, I no longer like you. So now I'm stuck in a situation where I'm like, what do I do, right? Because I'm going to have to either circle one of these holes or fill in that line, right? So something has to happen. So I guess my question is, in doing some of this reading, I'm coming to the assumption that I don't think, at least from a impoverished population, you're not going to get, or at least people that don't have that equal opportunity, you're not going to get people that are going to believe in a system. You're not going to get people that believe in a system that has never, even with a representative that looked like them for 8 years, has never truly represented them. So when you see that, it's going to be very, very difficult to get to the polls, even if I'm registered. And maybe I'm registered because Puffy told me a couple years ago that that's what I have to do, right? Like, maybe I'm registered because LeBron is like, maybe I'm registered because that's the right thing to do. But maybe, or on top of that, like you mentioned earlier, you're surprised at how many of our people are not really hip to the game. Maybe that's it. Is that we're living in a system that has never, ever, ever truly supported us. And B, nobody talks about it. Nobody's sitting on there. Like, it's not a conversation at the dinner table. We'd rather talk about Kanye than talk about politics. When we first came in here, Reem was playing C-SPAN, right? Like that doesn't happen. That's not a regular occurrence, right? So we're now dealing with very unfamiliar territory. You know what I mean? Like, it's a very, very unfamiliar, and it could be a very uncomfortable territory to.
Can I jump?
First, I just want to jump in there real quick before you. Once again, you answered your own question. That's my dude, man. Yeah. He poses a great question, and then he answers it. So I don't even know what to say.
All the pressure off of you.
Kobe's like, right.
Yeah, you're right.
Right.
You know what's crazy is that I think that we have been exposed to the political environment. We just didn't appreciate it when it was happening. And I'll speak for myself. My Uncle Rodney, him and my aunt, they lived in the Bronx. I lived in Staten Island. Mm-hmm. They didn't have any children of their own, so they would come to Staten Island like every weekend, especially if it wasn't no like environmental deterrents. Come to Staten Island every weekend. And yeah, I had a TV in my room, but we had the big TV in the living room. You know that big shit.
Yeah.
This table, that joint, right?
The one that stops working, you put a TV on top of that.
Exactly. Exactly. Put some plants on top.
Yeah.
We had that joint. And they come down like a Saturday morning, get there Saturday afternoon, hang out. But every Sunday morning, it'd be fucking Tavis Smiley and Louis Farrakhan. And now I'm 11, 12. Pissed off. Why do we have to watch this? They don't even live here. They come down and take over the TV.
Tavis Smiley, because he doesn't get
enough respect.
The flowers he deserves. But I think even if you localize it, when Cianci was mayor and when he died, I saw a lot of young black men and black people that are younger than me that were like, Cianci was the best mayor ever. And I'm like, you was probably like 5 when he was mayor. What do you mean he's the best mayor ever?
How you know?
He was the most popular mayor around here because he ran the goddamn city. And he had all the connections. Cianci was a political genius,
And he showed up.
and he showed up.
He
everything.
He had that community leader. It's like
he was at my grandmother, my great grandmother, and my sister's funeral.
Wow.
He showed up.
Showed up to all three.
That alone will get you some votes.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah,
Immediately.
100%.
Immediately.
And he and he said, you got to be willing to do what I'm about to do right now. Is walk in that crowd and talk to the people. But he was also doing this, and it was like,
People tied up in the basement. Oh, he was.
I think, yeah.
hardcore.
Y'all want playgrounds on the south side? Got you. But my cousin, he gonna get the $70,000 job for doing nothing.
Right.
Right,
And
so
the $200,000 construction bid.
That's the
Right.
one that I'm talking about.
Right,
We're
like-
gonna go with this garbage disposal company.
I know.
Right, and so-
he was doing all that.
like, so he was a master politician, but you got your playgrounds, and so for us as black people, we're like, oh shit, we got our playgrounds. We asked for it, we got it, but we didn't get all the other shit we needed. Our schools were still fucked up, right? All the other things, and so I'm like, I mean, I can't say I knew all this then either. Like I started to learn this as I got older, and I think that's the same mentality that people have around here in Providence.
Still to this day.
Right?
You just-
Or they just feel like shit's not gonna work and shit's not gonna change because Providence is about who you know, and a lot of it is because it's a small city, and so I think there's just no hope for any change when it comes to the political arena.
Let me tell you that's why I watch C-SPAN, because I want to hear it from the horse's mouth. If you listen and wait for Fox or CNN,
They're gonna give you snippets of.
they'll give you snippets of it, their own spin on it, this,
Yep.
that, and the third. And I'm not going to try to sell it like it's the most exciting
Fox
shit.
and CNN are the ESPN of politics.
Right.
Absolutely.
They're gonna give you the highlights.
I watch it for fun. Anyway.
They make it exciting, to be honest with you.
yeah.
Because C-SPAN's not fun. It's
No.
5.5 hours of congressional testimony. Like, it's not fun at all. But you really get to see.
You gotta
and
watch the whole game.
Exactly. Oh, he really don't give a fuck. And then, more importantly, the governors and the representatives who are asking the questions, you see, and these are the people you're essentially voting for or not voting for. And you get to really watch the platform that they're running on. Because, all right, so you just going to hand them this layup question where you just, like, there's real issues right now in the world. And you sitting here talking about 2016 dossier. Oh, okay, you bullshitting about it. You just propaganding. That's what you're doing. But, so I go there and I watch that. And it's just funny that, like I said, I go back to my Uncle Rodney, how much I despise that he would take over the fucking television, and now I'm turning into him. But at least I have my phone and my Beats, and I just cut it on and watch it by myself, let the boy have the TV. But yeah, for you to even jump in that arena, it's just, it must have been one hell of a charge.
It was a hell of a charge. I mean, and I'm going to go back to hope. You know, you're saying hope, and that would be my answer to your question. You just got to have some hope. There's really no, you got to stay around. That's why I never really try to turn folks, because I'm not happy, but I'm okay with you not wanting to be involved in the process, because I still got dudes that are my age. I just turned 49. I got dudes that are my
One
age.
time for that black
Happy
don't
birthday.
cry.
Appreciate you guys.
Happy birthday.
That still don't.
It's my
they'd be
boy
like,
Kwame
Kobe.
over there.
They be like, Kobe, I ain't moving. I don't give a damn.
I call Kwame because Kobe had to cut back in the day. You know, it just
With the slow, with the uneven joint.
All that.
That's what I immediately thought back to, with the polka dot shirt and the striped pants.
All that. I had them too.
I pay attention to what's going on. Like I'm aware. It's just I don't partake in the system.
That's fine, but you gotta have. But look who you're around though.
yeah.
You have to be. You gotta be. If you hung with a bunch of dudes that didn't partake or whatever, you'd probably be in prison right now. Like, you have to understand that. There's balance.
Makes sense.
There's balance, man. If you hang around a bunch of dudes that don't give a, I ain't the fool and I don't give a fuck. But believe me, guarantee you, you wouldn't be where you are right now. So it's okay to keep your stance, but also the reason why I probably am a little hopeful, more hopeful than others, because I look at things through the eyes of the young folks. Because I say often, and my kids hate when I say, I'd be like, look, my life's over. I'm done. My life is done. I have to start looking at it through the lens of your son. or what are the kids? Because if I just looked at it through an adult, 49-year-old, my shit is bleak right now. Absolutely. It's bleak. I'm like,
Wouldn't be no hope.
That's why I'm looking at November.
They were about 49 too.
And I'm looking at November, and we got two 80-year-old white dudes running. And I'm like, what? How are they going to represent anything that I'm thinking about right now?
The best thing that can happen is who Joe Biden appoints as his vice president and let her be young and somewhat more in touch. And he died the first year of his presidency.
Sounds kind of grim, but
you say it's grim? I would name him a martyr.
I'm down.
In my mind, I'd be like, yo, he laid on the soil for us. I'm down. And now we get to listen to this younger woman of color.
I'm down with that.
You know that?
Yeah.
That's the only reason he's getting my vote.
that's the possibility you might have to stop pushing out there.
But now I don't want to kill him.
No, he's
No, I'm
going.
not saying.
I don't want to start praying for his death.
I don't think you're gonna
No,
have
I'm not
to kill
saying
him.
that. I'm saying the fact that that's a
It's going
possibility.
to happen.
Oh, yeah.
That I don't think people know that process. No, that's real. That's real talk.
Yep.
People don't understand that if he goes down, she's the president.
She's
You
the
can have
president.
your first
So I'm not
female
saying-
president.
Believe me, let's take that off.
We had it with
Take that.
Truman,
We're not
and we
saying
all
you're the president.
were all suffering the consequences. That's my take. We had it with Truman, and we're all suffering the consequences.
Yeah.
I love it.
What was I going to ask you? So I think we talked about this briefly on one of these podcasts with like looking around now, all the civil unrest that you're seeing. Looking at Portland. I don't know if you're familiar with Portland.
Yeah.
They've been I don't want to say rioting, but they've been protesting for 59 straight.
I think it's day 61 now.
Hardcore too. It ain't just been no marches around the block.
Yeah.
They going hard.
Now, I've heard like snippets of what they are fighting for, and they all have like different objectives.
It's part of the problem.
So that's my question to you, because we've spoken about this on this podcast. Do our leaders needed, especially at a time right now, to look up to so that we can follow something, or should we be how we are, just no leader? Because if we have a leader, we have somebody who we can take down.
No, so I like the groups. I like the different groups because I don't think we should ever just be asking for one thing, because that's what happens. I mean, and I was gonna interject, but when you was talking about we get little things and then we're satisfied with that. Let's take a case in point that you guys know about the West End field, the Intruders field. They did it over.
Oh, it looks good now.
Okay, it looks amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what will happen in that area for the next 20 years. That's it. The schools around it suck. The roads around it suck. The rec center connected to it sucks. All that kind of stuff. But we got this field. We're happy.
Is that where the block kind of like divides?
Gilbert Stewart? You know what Gilbert Stewart? Off of Elmwood Ave?
Off of Elmwood. Really beautiful. Feels beautiful.
He needs a
Multi-million-dollar field.
landmark.
There's a school back there.
Yes.
And you can't drive. It's a one-way during
Absolutely.
a certain
Yes.
part of the time.
Yep.
Okay, I know
That's
where
good.
I'm at.
So my point is,
landmark.
that's what we did. People wanted this field so bad. When they should have been, the school.
You should have digitized the school.
Should have been renovated. How about the rec center renovated? No, we're focused on the field. And then the year we get the field, guess what? The league's canceled.
Yeah.
There's no. So it's kind of ironic. But anyway, my point with that is, you can't be all asking for the same thing. We need different groups. Even here in Providence, they took the Providence Plantation thing. That's a joke. That's a joke. We took that. They took the lowest hanging fruit, and they took the Providence Plantation thing back. That's all y'all want?
But that's a
Good.
good one.
And
That's
that
a
one-
big win, no?
That was
Celebrating
I don't
mediocrity.
know about a big win.
Not
That
a
was a
big.
start.
It was a good start.
That was a start.
Yeah, it's a start.
But my point is, what did we ask for in conjunction with it? There
Right.
should have been an and in there. There should have been a, and right after that,
I love it.
we want that. It's been crickets ever since. So then the reparations came with the mayor. But if you don't follow politics, then you don't know where all this is coming from now. For 6 years, he has done nothing for black folks. And now, all of a sudden, we get Providence Plantations taken off, reparations conversations started.
Well,
If
I
you're not-
think
if you
a
can't
lot of it is
see-
part of the Black Lives Matter movement. I think that's where it comes from. Not to say we should be satisfied with that. And I think to go back to Alex and what you say, I always said a vote is just a prayer.
Is it what?
It's a prayer. It's a wish. It's
Not
a
a
wish
ridiculous-
without action.
Yep.
right? If there's no action behind it, right? Guys, can be unemployed and be like, pray before and when they wake up in the morning, Lord, find me a job, and then go sit on the couch and play Xbox all day. Ain't no job coming, bro. They ain't gonna just pop up. And you can't just vote and just say, hey, did my job. No, you need to continuously push for the things that you voted for, right? If this candidate said this is what they're gonna do, you put your vote in, then now your voice needs to be heard. Because there's no power behind the vote if you're just gonna be mute for the rest of his candidacy. Like, you need to be pushing what you was voting for.
That's crazy. You keep saying push, and I know some dude in the hood used to call himself Push. And I'm like, what was that? And they pray until something happens. And that's the same.
Wow.
That's the same analogy right there. And I never really got it. I'm like, why you call yourself Push? Pray until something happens. So that's pretty much what happens with the vote. A lot of times people just vote and be like, all right, hopefully, what happened with Obama? I mean, I get in arguments about that all the time. People were just like, oh, we going to vote for Obama and just sit
black. Yeah.
No, and just sit back. They didn't do nothing the whole time. And I don't want to say everybody, but a lot of people didn't do anything the whole 8 years. And now we're right back to square one. It's like he never was in office to me right now.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, I could see that.
That's what it feels like anyway.
For the whole world.
So now,
the whole world.
Some of the world feels the wrath of him being in office.
Yes. Oh yes.
But
yes.
So what's next? So what's next for Kobe? What's the future? What's the future looking like?
Like I said, top down politics now, as far as just trying to get up there in ranks. As far as I'm just all about employment, getting people jobs, and getting people stable. That's pretty much it. I kind of bowed out of politics. I'm not going to say never, but no time in the next 10 years or so. I figure I got a little bit of time. Most all these old dudes are running when they're 70 and 80. I could wait for another 10 years. So, right now I'm just going to work on myself, work on my family, real estate, things like that. But also everything I do is always a teachable moment. I bought a house. Like ever since I bought a house just a year ago because I didn't know much about the home buying process. I'm 49. I've always made enough money. I just thought I was on some hood mentality. I ain't buying no house. That ain't what we do. Right. And literally. I mean, and my wife finally was like, come on, bro, let's do this. All right. So finally bought a house. It was nothing like that. I had a VA loan all this time. I could have bought one about 20 years ago.
Yo. My capitalistic heart is falling apart right now, Kobe. I'm like, all right, well, we on now. We on now.
Yeah. We can start from now, Reem.
Okay. I should have, I didn't know any better. I really didn't know any better. And I'm all right admitting that. I don't hide from that. Word. So ever since I bought a house, like 3 or 4 of my boys bought a house already. So sometimes when you leading, you don't even realize how powerful of a leader you are.
But also you running for mayor also and influence some other people across the state
for sure
to run for shout out to little sis Melissa DeRosa. She gives you a lot of credit, and she's running for a political office in Pawtucket. She already tried, but she's running again.
Yeah. So everybody keeps saying that too. Second time, Kobe, you do better and all that. So getting back to one of the earlier questions too as well, when you said did you ever think about running for something lower at first? When people say that to you,
I know. When I said it, when I thought about it, I was like, damn, that sounds disrespectful.
No, but it's a question I've been asked many times, even from family members. Like, damn, you starting that mayor? Like, what up at the city council? I mean, take your time. It's almost like, you getting the really good-looking girl, and somebody's like, why don't you get the chubby chick first, man? Or why don't you, that's that kind of smack in the face, like, what, you don't think I'm good enough for her? Or whatever, or what have you? So it feels like that, so that's why I reached for the sky.
And Kobe, I could say from what and you've been doing it longer than I, but I feel like what we've been able to accomplish from where we sit currently, it's almost like, not to shit on a city councilman, it was like, I feel like I do more than them already. Yeah. And so why not shoot for something more than what they do?
I kind of did feel like I was at that level. We'll go back to the battery in the back to charge. I felt as though I was like already, that's some dollar store shit. I was a Duracell battery. I wasn't, I had some real shit.
Yeah, that shit said Duracell on it, but it did have the 10-year warranty. All the lights lit up as soon as it fucking.
Yep.
Oh,
the bunny never came by. He never came.
That's
You
it.
know, so
It's
that's
still
it,
such
man.
a commendable. I mean, just step in that direction. It's bold, brother. That was bold.
I appreciate it, man. Appreciate you guys having me.
Yo,
too,
man.
This is
I
dope.
mean, I know. I didn't know you were running for mayor. All I know you from was the community.
Sports, man.
Yeah, sports. You know what I'm
It's
saying?
indicative of what. It's kind of indicative of what the hood though,
Yeah,
too, man.
and,
So
and
don't
to
feel
be honest,
bad.
man, your story is indicative of the guy that I knew while he was coaching my son through that community basketball
Appreciate
league. So I'm sure that you know, like Bub just said, I'm sure you've planted seeds that you probably are unaware of. You know what I'm saying? That you probably don't know that are gonna be active years to come. You know what I mean? And that's dope and commendable in its own
Absolutely.
right. bro.
Appreciate
You know
that.
what
And I'm
saying?
hoping that was the case. I'm hoping that's the case. I don't think it was a moot point. Like, you know, it felt like I'm happy to be out of that space and things like that. But you know, I know for a fact, like you said, the Melissa DeRosa, but there's plenty of other people that have reached out to me and was like, man, I'm thinking about running. Like dudes from the streets. Like, I'm like, okay. You know, it's kind of funny because when I was running, it was like, what you doing, bro? And now 2 years later, how fast people are like, now this whole Black Lives Matter movement, everything, they're like, yo, I'm thinking about
People
running,
trying to
son.
push me. They're like, yo, Bub, when you running for mayor? I said, shit.
That's what happened.
You mentioned earlier that now in your current role, you're in diversity and inclusion, like hiring.
Mm-hmm.
So being a part of corporate America right now, I'm starting to see and hear where large corporations are ticking this Black Lives Matter conversation box, right? Where I was recently, and I won't go on record with stating my company's name right now, but it was a let's listen talk, which I thought was, again, a step in the right direction. It was made up of African American colleagues that are in senior level positions, one of which I know and highly respect, and the CEO of the bank. But while I was listening to it, I couldn't help but notice that it felt like we were doing something
Just because.
so we can explain to the board that, yep, we did this.
Check the box.
We checked the box, even though I don't discredit or think it's disingenuous why the black leaders were on this call. I believe that they were there because they wanted to make a presence and push this initiative. But there were certain metrics that I was looking for and responses that I wanted to hear, as far as when you publish your quarterly earnings report, will you also include your diversity metrics? Oh, we're not there yet.
We don't think there's a need to do that.
I posed the question that didn't even get asked. What's the appetite to tie executive level compensation to diversity hire and advancement metrics? So I'm curious to hear that in your current role right now, what it feels like in your area as far as diversity and inclusion and things of that nature. Because for me, we're like 4%.
So it's great. I mean, thank you for posing the question because it's real. I just started the position. I mean, I've always did the work. I've did trainings for years, but I've never officially, I didn't take it too serious. It's just, that was part of my life. Diversity, inclusiveness, and equity. I've always been teaching the difference between equality and equity. People, confuse that all the time. And so when I took this job, which they created, not because of the climate, they just knew that it was time. And I can say my company, the YMCA, Greater Providence. So, shout out to them for realizing that it's time. But what happens is a lot of times you get that job and it's like a token job. It's a check in the box. And I sat down with the CEO. I said, I'm going to tell you something right now. If I don't answer to just you, because if I can't just be underneath you, I don't want no other bosses, no nothing. Here I am, a new guy coming in, letting them know if I can't just go to you to get things done, then this won't work.
Right.
And he was like, okay, all right, let's do that. So I go in I only been 3 or 4 months into the job before COVID, and before George Floyd as well. So I haven't been there long, but I can tell you my impact has already made a difference, because I'll tell you what happened. So when George Floyd came out, all these big companies, now the YMCA graded probably 800 employees, multi-million-dollar budget. It's pretty big. Mm-hmm. Now, when they put out their messages, they got 40, 50,000 members. So when they put out a Facebook message, they put out something, it's like, all right, this could sink us, or it can improve us, whatever. So believe me, here I am, a new guy, remember. Diversity inclusion just started and all this. So the first thing when happened to George Floyd, all these companies, if you go look back at your timeline, 2 weeks after, everybody came out with these long, we really feel for the blacks, and we're with you, and
pandering,
kumbaya, or pandering to the fullest. So my CEO, white man, started getting all kind of emails. When are you going to do this? The black people at the job was like, oh, we knew you was a racist. Like, they was coming at him. Mm-hmm. They was coming for him. And all along, they didn't know I was telling him not to put out a message. Right. And I was telling him not to put out a message because I said, we don't do that here. We don't take care of blacks here. We don't have any type of black committees, no black leaders, one black person on the board. So you can't go putting that out there because it's pandering. Mm-hmm. And it's not cool, and it's not going to be accepted by if you really want blacks or people of color to accept this.
You're just lying.
Because you're just lying. You're just putting up a front. You're fronting. Going back to the hood.
Take this criticism.
Take these lumps, which he did, because he was looking at me like every day, like, well, when we got
this is you. You said this.
Kobe, I want to say something.
He was showing me emails, and like people was like, wow, we knew this. Finally, put out a statement after about 2 months after, and put it out in that way, and said we didn't put it out because this flooded his whole email with everything. People were like, you know what, we respect that. Right. You a G for that. You this, and he was like, oh, that really. He was like, man, I was sweating for a minute.
Shit was scary for a second. Kobe, there you go.
So my point in saying all that in that story is that it can work. If you really, you got to be willing. First, I tell people all the time, you got to be willing to get fired. And every job I ever had, I was willing to get fired. And my wife don't like to hear that because I say shit like that all the time. Word. I will get fired tomorrow for what I believe in. Mm-hmm. And I don't care what. I tell my kids all the time, don't get used to them Catholic schools y'all go to, all that, because you may be going.
This shit can end tomorrow.
Don't get too close to your friends.
But they got a new field over on the West End.
We got to enjoy that.
So Kobe, you are now going to Hope.
My daughter goes to one of the most expensive schools in the state right now, and she every day is like, "You good, Dad? Was work good today?"
We good? We still good? We still all right?
I really like my friends.
She's in her senior year, so she's like, please don't mess up, bro. Please. But all jokes aside,
ready to be fired for what you believe.
If you're in that position, you got to be ready to be fired. You got to be ready, because if not, man, you can be like a lot of my friends that have sold out. I can say I know a lot of my friends have sold out and moved off into other places and things like that, and don't come back to the hood at all. Because they made it, got that decent job, because I could do the same thing, but I'm not going to do that. And it's not about keeping it real or nothing like that. It's just kind of staying true to
what feels right.
That's Reem. Reem's going to do that.
But it's also knowing that.
Yeah, see?
I'm still going to own this house, though, so I'm going to be in the hood every now and then, making sure the yard is right, still contributing to the community.
I'm not knocking that. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
That's the dream, to move away and do that. But to me, you can still contribute. You can still be an interactive, intricate part of the community that you love, that you come from, and come back, reach back. You got to be able to reach back. If you ain't reaching back, then to me, that's a sellout. You ain't reaching back.
I promise you, I just want to stay in Barrington. I wish I had a cushy 9 to 5 and just go home.
There's nothing wrong with that.
But I can't.
There's nothing wrong with that. I look at Archie and Johnson, loving it. Archie's a hood dude.
Yeah.
Archie's our boy, straight from the hood, family's hood, everything. Yeah. But guess what? He's in Johnson now. He's like, I kind of like this. Waking up, nobody's shooting.
His hairline's coming back.
Yeah, but look at losing weight.
Yeah. He's talking about growing gardens and stuff like that. He's on farms. I'm like,
is that what Johnson does?
He's on my time. He
yeah.
seems to be on my time.
Oh, Kobe, he has a bee colony. This guy, all of a sudden.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But I mean, serious. My brother still lives in Southside. God bless his soul, because I love my hood, but I don't want to live there. You know, and I don't live that far from himself, but he got, I mean, every time I go to his house, if it's any time past 6 or 7, there's music blaring, there's trash everywhere. All that. I can't take all that, man.
He lives right on Ocean.
I can't. That's tough. That's tough. I'm like,
Ocean and Colfax, basically.
oh no, he's in the
He's
center.
right there.
Oh, right there.
Yeah, he's right
He's
there.
right there.
Oh,
In
shit.
the thick
So-
of it.
Yeah.
So
It's tough.
I mean,
Anywhere, he's the director at the Boys Club.
they
Southside.
call me capitalistic Kareem, but I don't see why
Nothing wrong
I
with
should
that.
ever feel any kind of remorse
You should.
for not one. The same way I do at my job.
Right.
I'm not going to stay in the same position for 20, 30 years.
Absolutely.
I'm going to always want to progress and want more.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they say Reem can't go back to the hood. You know, when I heard that, when I was sending emails to the hood, I'm still there in spirit.
Yeah.
But, and don't get me, come on, man, we still we're in Providence. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
But, like, I think about it from the Staten Island perspective.
And you ain't from here. So
Yeah,
if
I'm
you
not-
want to use that excuse.
Right. But
If you wasn't born and raised there, you can be like,
I don't run back and forth to Staten Island though, because I got shot in Staten Island.
Yeah.
I don't get shot in Rhode Island. It's different. Like, I'm fine here.
but the borough mentality is real though in New York though. It is real.
As far
people,
as-
as far as people stay in their borough just to, if they leave their borough, do they feel like they're leaving something behind? Do they feel like they're selling out?
Right.
People
Right.
feel like, oh, you love Brooklyn. Oh,
There's
you
pride. There's pride there.
And there's
it's the
also
same
a lot
type
of it
thing
like
with the
you,
city.
you really can't afford to leave
Yeah.
out of your borough because
definitely,
you are grandfathered into whatever your rent structure is to stay in the third. Now you want to go move to Dumbo? No, you ain't gonna do that. So, but yeah, I think about New York like that as a whole. Like I don't have a desire to be in New York. I want to be where I get up and water my flowers, not worry about how much the mortgage is gonna be.
Oh, there you go.
So yeah, I don't shit. Like I said, I go visit your brother. Hey, barbecue, I ain't my nigga.
That's what I do.
And I'm out of here.
I visit my brother and I say, bro, come, you can come anytime. And I live across town, but it's like night and day, man. It's like night and day. I live on this side. It's way different. Look, listen, you don't hear nothing. Like if I go to my brother's house right now,
You're hearing everything.
loud
it's right there.
music, motorcycles, all that. Like that. Nobody should, to me, have to live like that. And I ain't knocking my people, but that's just not. You know, once you get out of work and stuff like that, stuff supposed to shut down. There's a time.
I think that should be a choice. You know what I'm saying? I think that should be a choice. I think, you know what I miss?
Not
You know what I
always a
miss the
choice,
most about my life? I miss hearing a city bus go back and forth and then sirens behind it. That sounds crazy, but I miss being on a 5th or 6th story building while in my bed hearing a city bus screech to a halt at a red light. It sounds crazy. I know it sounds
Was
crazy.
that simpler times for you?
But I fucking miss that.
Okay.
I miss that. I miss the
I'm not mad at
smell of exhaust. It's
Look,
the most
Kobe.
unhealthy thing in the
Kobe, I'm
world.
gonna tell you some shit. The Dominicans is on some other shit. All right, like last week, Alex told us he falls asleep to
You
porn.
had me at smell
He
of
falls asleep to
exhaust.
porn.
You had me
and
up
this
until
guy
that point.
misses
Smell it.
city
Telling
buses
you.
and,
Yeah.
and just,
It's
man,
just I'm just
It's
I'm
real.
just saying
Kobe, that
it's
side
just,
of the table gets a little weird.
it's just different the way that you interact with communities. That's
Right.
what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? The way that you interact with communities is different, and it's unfortunate when I hear what you're saying. It's unfortunate when you move out of a community that you perceive to love and understand, and then you move out without contributing to that community. That to me is very
That's the
sad as
epitome
well,
of-
or not learning how to contribute to that community. That to me is I can understand that. I can understand that vision, but I could also understand the vision of who the fuck else does that.
you want to stay though?
There's things
And I'm not saying that I agree or approve of that, but I'm just saying I can understand someone that thinks like that. Because I have associated with people that think like that. Like, no, once I'm out of here, fuck all y'all. Because this has done nothing good for me. This has been, this took my sister, this took my father, this took my mom, this took whatever. So fuck this. Once I'm out of here, I'm out of here. You know what I'm saying? So I can understand the mentality of both. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
Like I can.
to what you're saying, like when I ride through Lockwood Plaza and growing up there, right? Riding through there now, it's a ghost town. There's nobody outside. Like there's nobody outside. And even during the crack era, and all the violence that was happening in Providence, we was outside in Lockwood playing, right? Whatever, manhunt, duck, duck, goose, whatever it was, hide and go seek, and finding crack vials and baggies in the gutters, in the drains where guys used to stash their stuff and be like, oh shit, yo, cuz, what we gonna do with this?
Put it back.
Nope, we're gonna sell it to somebody. And
Better put it back.
I'm like, yo, you found full crack vial? I ain't never found no crack vial with crack in it.
I found a bundle with crack in it. But
put it back.
Nope. Didn't do it. But playing outside, then hear gunshots. Somebody's getting shot at or shot. Run. Come back out. See the scene. See the ambulance. Right. Hear all these sirens. See the cops out there. Scene cleaned up. We back outside playing again. I do miss that, even though, and I always say this, like, even in the midst of all that, you still had community. You still had people outside. Now, crime down, you don't have any of that. And I know the demographics of most communities now, in Providence specifically, have changed as far as race, ethnicity, and language.
Fucking West End.
And language. No, even language. There's a language barrier now in the quote-unquote housing projects, right? Most of them are predominantly Latino. And so you don't see anything. So to your point, right, missing the screeching city bus coming down the street, when I ride through these certain communities, I'm like, yo, I miss the fact that we was outside playing, during all the chaos and the madness, we were still outside. We were still community.
Right.
Y'all are bugging. Yeah, I love the hood. Don't get me wrong. To your point about like it took this, it took that from me. It also motivated the fuck out of me. None of y'all watch Richie Rich, the movie?
Yes.
Like, I wanted a roller coaster in my backyard.
Yeah.
I wanted philanthropist parents. You know what I mean? Like I wanted.
I didn't want that. But,
No. Because I want to be in a place where, like, for me myself, where I have acquired enough and have enough assets to really give back in the right way. But I never was like, yo, I'm staying here. My father told me, and it holds true to me every day in my life, and it's about money, but it was really about community as well. But he was like, if you take every dollar from Staten Island and rounded it all up, it would just be one grain of sand on the beach. Get the fuck out of Staten Island. That's it.
But you can't see anybody having a completely different thought than that?
Oh, of course I can.
Because you said we're bugging.
Now I'm still call you bugging now. No. We agree to disagree.
I live in Barrington.
No, I get it. And everything that you loved about the nostalgia of your memory, you don't want Sean to do it.
No.
Right. This is what I'm saying. Like, nah, I ain't going back. I don't miss no fucking city bus now.
Well, I'm back.
All the way back to the hope thing that we was talking about. You got to look through the eyes of somebody else.
Right.
And that's bottom line. That's the only way you got to stay positive and stuff like that. I mean,
I love seeing the young people and what they're doing right now. All the protests and things like that. I love it.
I secretly be snickering when this shit be burning down and stuff.
Yeah.
I ain't sorry. But at the same time, I just think about people getting hurt. And, I still, when they protest, even here, I'll try to convince the young folks, look, man, try to work with the cops, man. Because I always try to give them both scenarios. I would tell the kids that are protesting, the girl that led to 10,000, I put the battery in her back. But in a good way, because I said, listen, you need to call the police. You need to call the mayor. You need to call all these people. This is how you do a successful protest and nobody get hurt. What happened? She had 10,000 people out there.
Nobody
Not a problem. Because I told her how to do it, and I'm not taking credit for it totally, but I kind of gave her the game, and she did it the right way, and her and her friends had 10,000 people out there. And they got some things done. They met the governor. These are kids that literally didn't know anything before George Floyd. That's what's invigorating for me, to know that there's kids out there that are learning at 14 and 15 what I didn't even give a damn about.
Either.
At 14, 15, I didn't give a damn about
I'm sitting on all these Zoom
nothing.
calls because they asked me to sit on them. I said, I ain't saying nothing. Oh, Mr. Carter, can you? Nah, this is y'all. Y'all put it together. Y'all speak. I'm just here just in case some of these adults get out of line.
Right.
And try to chastise you. But I'm just here for moral support. You say what you need to say.
Couldn't have me in that Zoom call. I would have told him to burn this shit to the ground.
Oh, the kids are saying that. They're
Oh,
just
the
not
kids
saying
are
that.
saying that.
They're just not saying that. They just ain't saying that, but they saying it.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's dope.
2 hours.
2 hours. Well, we broke
2 hours,
90.
wow.
2 hours. Thank you,
Yo,
Kobe.
thank you,
I appreciate
Kobe.
y'all,
Time
man.
flies when
Thank
you're
you, man.
being inspired.
Yeah, man.
Appreciate
Shit, I'm
I
inspired.
knew
man.
it was
Yo.
gonna be a good one. We
That's dope.
got to have you back here because we got to get into more shit. But I knew it was gonna be a good one from
Yeah,
from
we
the
just
rip.
scratched the
When's
surface.
the book coming?
November. Election
all
day.
right, okay.
Election day.
That's when
Oh.
we got to have you back.
Yeah,
Gotta have you
yeah,
back in November.
Yes. Let's
Election
plan
day.
that.
Yeah.
Week after election day, when all of us need to be together anyway, armed with our families bunkered down in the room, when this motherfucker refuses to leave.
Bring you back. Bring you back.
I'm with you. I don't want to say that. Are we done? 'Cause I swear to God, he gonna win again. So.
Yo, shout out to you, man.
so
Shout
I
out to you.
appreciate it.
Thank you very much
Absolutely.
for joining us.
Thank you.
We have this thing called honorable mention, where we shout out anything, whether it's a movement, whether it's a people, whether it's a movie, album,
Something you
book,
want somebody to pay attention to.
anything you want
read,
somebody
whatever.
to pay attention to. We shout it out. If you want, we can go around. You can listen to what we have,
Yeah,
and then
see
you
what
can,
y'all got.
Alright.
See what you. It's dope.
I'll go. I got it's Vida, Vida. It's a clothing line by Carlos Aquino. He's a local regional guy. He's from here. He's got his clothing line out. You can follow it at Vida. Well, we'll have it in the post. But shout out to Carlos.
Shout out to Carlos.
My honorable mention, this may is pretty random, but Cloud Atlas, the sextet. It's Cloud Atlas, the sextet. It's a musical composition that they've turned into a movie. It came out 2012. It has Halle Berry and Tom Hanks in it. But what ends up happening is over 6 different periods of time and 6 different lives, it reiterates how no matter where we are in time, we continue to make the same mistakes, and the same mistakes will result in inevitable end of humanity, but also the rebirth of another humanity. So, Cloud Atlas, the sextet, and the music is pretty fire too. You can Google that.
Where's that at?
At Firestick or Netflix.
Cool. I'll go with shout out to definitely Diana Garlington, who just wrote a book and it's called She Wasn't the One, and it's a book based on the killing of her daughter in the streets of Providence.
Wow.
And the reason why I really want to hope folks go buy her book, I mean, it's on Amazon and all that. It's just I'm so excited from the day I met her. Where she was just a grieving mom that hated the world and wanted to hurt somebody, to becoming a
Did
author.
she?
Yeah.
Wow.
So
What was that name again? In the
Diana
book?
Garlington, and the book is called She Wasn't the One, I believe.
Her daughter's name is Essence Crystal.
Essence, T. Crystal.
Yes.
So check it out and support. And then it's a lot of local authors coming up, and I just think it's a good movement right now. People are writing books like it's nothing. So, and I've been trying to write this book for about since the election for the last year and a half. It's just so busy. So I finally just gave myself the date, and I'll be done. So look out for it.
That's what's up. Mine is Oliver Stone's The Untold History of the United States. It's on Netflix. It started in 2013. It's one of the most eye-opening things I have. It's almost like watching. Remember when you watched 13th? It's almost like watching that.
This shit happened?
Like what in the what? It's almost like that. Like it was.
It's one episode.
Nope. It's like 10 or 11. It's like 10 or 11 episodes. Each episode is about an hour long. I would admit that the first 6 are all in black and white because he starts in like the World War II era.
Okay.
And he explains how things were portrayed and the things that were not portrayed that later came out in top secret documents, and how those things that later came out in top secret documents influence what was really going on versus what was portrayed as what was really going on. So it's a very different look at the war, and it's a very different look at our history leading from Roosevelt all the way up to Obama, and it is absolutely, like I said, it's 10 or 11 episodes.
Wow.
It could be very dense at certain point. Like I'm taking notes. Like it could be very dense, but man, was it eye opening. It was completely eye opening.
What was that? Oliver Stone's
Oliver Stone's Untold History of the United States on Netflix. Check it out.
Oh, my wife's gonna love this. She's a historian. She's gonna love this. Definitely gonna watch it.
All right, I'm gonna keep it relatively close to our family. Just happy birthday to Ellie.
Ellie.
Happy birthday,
Ellie. Happy birthday to
Angel.
Happy birthday.
All right.
And congrats to Boo and Nini for the engagement.
Yeah,
That's fire.
What?
that happened.
Yeah, that happened.
There was a party?
Nah, it was on Sunday night. Nobody knew.
Nobody knew.
Nobody knew.
Good.
Nobody knew.
It didn't. There was no group chat.
No.
A get together.
There was a
FaceTime.
FaceTime.
Cool.
It was a
I was like,
FaceTime.
I
Is this
use
when
that.
Angel was like giving everybody
Yes.
the work?
Like right after the
Right
work
after.
was
Wow.
done, everybody was still sweaty.
So
Yo.
you watched that after you got an ass whooping and you
Yo,
was sweating.
Angel
Get my
beat them
ass whipped.
30-8.
I didn't get my ass whipped.
I need
That's an ass whooping.
tell Angel
30-8.
get ready to get this work.
It was.
Nah, he got handled, man. That little boy got handled.
His handle is subpar at best.
You're not a natural athlete.
That's
relax.
part is, that was
Go on,
definitely
let's
displayed.
Are you natural?
That was definitely
naturally
displayed.
gifted? Because there's no natural talent.
Nope, not on the defensive end in basketball. I promise you that much. Stands off. He's not telling you he's barefoot in slides too.
we both were.
He had on socks.
We both had sandals on.
Yeah, but he had on socks with his little.
No.
Oh, he's beating you with slut. Oh, wow.
Oh, he beat
I
him
had,
with
I had
slides.
slides on too.
I don't feel that.
Yo,
bad.
get us out of here. Get us out of here. I don't want to talk about.
Hey, yo, episode 104. This was dope, man. Kobi,
Thank you, Kobi.
very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Thank you,
bro.
brother
Appreciate
Kobi.
you. This was fun. Like, follow, comment, share. Y'all know what to do, man. We out of here.
Hey, fact check.
Peace.